Isn't this fun? So I'm experimenting with live streaming via Zoom to YouTube. So I'm expecting to be watching myself. Yes, excellent. I'm slightly delayed. Brilliant. So this looks like this is working. I'm going to mute that so I can't hear myself back on there. But that's really exciting. So let's try not to overwhelm the computer. There we go. Right. So I wanted to go live, partly to test the live stream and partly to let you know what's going on with the Crimson Coven. So the Crimson Coven the Crimson Coven Collective is, strictly speaking, a kind of private Facebook group, which is a space that I hold for people to explore the topics of divine love, embodied magic, and sacred sexuality. And we tread gently around these topics. So this is why it's a private group and not a big open space. So I sort of invite people to kind of join slowly, and we're up to just over 100 people now, and there are prompts every other day. There's spaces to share things that you're creating, spaces to ask questions, and to explore journal prompts and things around these topics. And then each week I jump on the live just in that group and offer up normally a little bit of discussion around a topic, and then a meditation in that space on the theme of the week. So last week we were exploring, and I can see the comments that people put up, so I can respond to questions as well during that sort of half hour, 45-minute live stream. It's supposed to be half an hour, but I always go over. So there's this sort of space, and last week we were talking about the body as part of the land and part of nature, and that being our sort of route into that space. On previous weeks we've talked about divine love and the way that that's reflected in us, and resting in that space, and a meditation to really tap into that. We've talked about the body as temple. We've talked about the wild gods of passion, and some of the questions around those stickinesses around reclaiming the gods in paganism into that space, the gods of love and passion as much as the goddesses. So various sort of topics where we're sort of gently working through these and working around, like feeling into being more at home in our bodies and more at home in and more connected to divine love. And I run workshops that are open to the public to come to. So the last one was working on your body as your temple and really tuning into that. And the next workshop that's going to be next month, which I haven't properly announced yet, so I'm going to tell you that now, is actually going to be about self-love and connecting with the self as beloved, and that sort of theme around there. And before, in fact, that workshop, this weekend, this Sunday, I'm offering an intensive, a 3-hour intensive around the festival of Beltane, working with the goddess Blodeuwedd, who is the Welsh goddess of the land and the flowers and the wild made flesh. So there's some really interesting threads in there about the wild nature and the embodiment in the land, and that tuning into love and passion and choice and sovereignty. So that is a 3-hour intensive this Sunday, and there's a special offer I offer for my patrons at the apprentice level to access that half price, and you get the workshops included in that, but you can do these as standalone. So all the details for signing up to those are on my website, which is haloquinn.net. That's HALOQUIN.NET. But the main reason I wanted to test this particular streaming space is because I also try and invite a guest speaker each month. And I've been working out the technology for how best to share this with a wider audience so that they can connect with people further afield without having an influx of lots of people into the Crimson Coven Collective too quickly, because it's to keep that a safe space. You are, of course, welcome if that space calls to you as somewhere where you want to come in and work on those things. You're very welcome. So you can find the links to that again on the website, and I think in the description on my YouTube, basically everywhere. So you can request to join and just let me know where you found me and why you want to come into that space. But I wanted to make sure, I'm trying to make sure that we can actually widen out the information. So if there's a topic that's coming up with one of the chats, and you can look back through and see the recordings on this playlist. Last month we had Raven Edgewalker, who is a British witch working primarily within reclaiming and a fairy initiate, who has been working for 25 plus years within this and teaching magic, coming and talking to us about the Iron Pentacle, which is a wonderful tool that I love dearly, which is reclaiming those elements of sacred sexuality, embodied life force and pleasure and desire within us, as well as other aspects of things that we're encouraged to let go of. So I do invite you to check that out, and you'll be able to see where I've been playing with the technology. The format of it is not the tidiest, but you can at least hear the conversation and see our faces on there and see what happened with that one. But next month, next week, in fact, I'm hoping to have a very special guest who you may know of, called Lee Harrington, who is an absolutely fantastic person, writer, speaker, teacher, who does all sorts of things within a wide variety of sacred sexuality, who discusses kink in that context, who talks about and offers up teaching on how to connect with people of various genders, and particularly in that sticky space of I say sticky space, that space of when we have bodies that don't necessarily align with our gender, where we may have gender fluidity, where we may have trans people and trans partners, and how to connect in those spaces. But Lee is actually going to be coming to talk about their new book, which I'm really excited about, and you will recognize this theme if you followed any of the work that I've done on self as beloved. And there must be something in the air, because that's been something I've been working on over the last year. And obviously this book has just come out on the 25th of April, so today, that is just ending. And yeah, so Lee is going to be coming to talk about their work in there, and self-love and self-care, and connecting with that, and connecting with the self in that caring, loving way, with self as beloved. So I'm really excited for this conversation. I've been a big fan of their work for a long time now, and they are the integrity and wisdom and generosity of spirit that shines through everything they do is really in alignment with what I want to invite into this space. So I'm really looking forward to that, and I invite you to, if you see this and that sounds like it appeals, subscribe to this channel, because if I do manage to get the technology working, then that will be live streamed here. And yeah, if the work that I do calls to you, if the sound of the Crimson Coven Collective, if that sounds like a good space to you, as a gentle entryway for exploring these things. And it's working with some of the topics in my book, The Crimson Craft, which is described as sexual magic for the solo witch. And so there's a lot to unpack in there, and we do that within the Crimson Coven Collective. So you'd be very, very welcome to find the link to that in the description, in the bio, and come and check out the information and see if that's where you'd like to be and if you'd like to join us. Yeah, I think that's probably enough from me today. It is midnight where I am, and being an ADHD brain, I thought, yeah, you know what, I'm going to just test this now. So I've just been I've just come home from a long weekend which started with a ritual for Inanna at the start of the Beltane season, offered for a group of ceremonial magicians, the Star Club, who are a lovely training group, and offer regular rituals, so monthly rituals and experiences, and a training cycle each year where you can learn those pieces. So I've helped build that, and I got the chance to actually go and offer this ritual that I'd crafted as an offering for Inanna and for self-love and self-sovereignty, and honouring the energies of in that instance, the goddesses and the deities of passion and love and sacred sexuality. And the reason I offer this work, and I continue to offer this work, and I try and make it as accessible as possible. So I offer as much as I can for free, and then there are the workshops where you can offer an exchange if you are able to, in order to sort of keep this flowing. And I feel that it is important to make that financially as accessible as possible, and while I work out the technology to make it more accessible to more people, I try and always make sure that things you can follow along if you can't watch the video, so you can just follow along by audio. And I'm working out transcripts and closed captioning as well, and the sort of more written work. I do a lot of written work, so that work is available in those spaces as well if audio is difficult for you. So I'm sort of working out those aspects of things and the financial accessibility. So if there's anything that I'm running that you see and you're like, actually, I would really love to be there, I am really called to that work, excuse me, but I genuinely cannot afford that, then do get in touch, because sometimes I have scholarships and options that will make it more available for you. So if there is a genuine need there, then do let me know. So that's open there. But I offer this work, and I offer that because I know, 100% know, I don't just believe it, I don't just think it, I know that you were made for, you were born for pleasure, you were born for play, you were born for love, you were born for magic. And all of those things are your birthright. All of those things are within your reach. And so much of the world encourages us away from that. So much of the world discourages us from connecting to those things. And so my heart's work is to help unpeel those layers, unpeel those chains, offer up alternative ways in and back in to pleasure, play, love, and magic. And this is part of the work of re-enchanting the world. I fully believe that if we start with healing our own hearts and our own connections to our bodies and become fully embodied magical practitioners, witches, magicians, druids, all fair folk, then that ripples out into the world, and that helps to shift and change the world and heal the world for the better. And with all that is going on, every one of us that can step into that and do that work for ourselves and offer that work of love out just by being in that space, we help to soothe the chaos and soothe the challenges that are being thrown our way. So I will end as a good content creator with a call to action. If this calls to you, then hit the subscribe button. If this calls to you, then follow the link to my website and check out the information on the workshops and on the Crimson Coven Collective. If this calls to you, step in. Step in. Step in gently into this space and begin to allow yourself to be in deeper connection, to be in divine love, embodied magic, and engaging again with sacred sexuality, because spirit and matter are one. We just need to remember. Thank you for listening. Thank you for joining me. And I look forward to seeing you in the work ahead and the play.